when you are once again made visible. Whoever knows the Divine Comedy well will object at this point. What about Canto 6 of Hell and Canto 14 of Paradise? Let's see. In Canto 6 of Hell, there is one explicit attestation of the resurrection of the flesh, and it is Virgil who explains to Dante that in the day of the universal judgment, at the blast of the angelic trumpet, each one shall see his sorry tomb again, and once again take on his flesh and form. Hell 6, 95 to 98. This is pure Catholic doctrine, and here it is Virgil speaking, and as I've already said, to hide the heterodoxy of his assertions and save himself and his work, Dante uses a little trick. He makes them argue in a clear and explicit manner through Virgil or some other character in hell or purgatory, the cornerstones of the Catholic faith, and then have it denied in a less explicit manner by Beatrice or some other soul in paradise, after having repeatedly advised that only the blessed know the truth. The question of Canto 14 is more intriguing because we are in paradise and it is the blessed who speak. It is a canto that has the resurrection of the flesh as its central theme, even if the word resurrection never appears, and the problem is presented from a particular angle. Perhaps it is opportune to start first by saying the souls present themselves in the form of luminous points. Here is another aspect that is decidedly cathar, the increasing dematerialization. The persons met in the three realms should appear, whatever their location, all the same, because they are all souls of dead men and women. So all should be shadowy, page 115, and have an airy body, impalpable. Instead, at the bottom of hell, they are so corporeal that Dante trips over the head of one person and tears locks of hair off another. In purgatory, they have quite visible bodies, but insubstantial, and in paradise they are no longer even visible and appear as luminous points from the light ever growing brighter as you ascend. In Canto 14, in the Heaven of the Sun, Beatrice asks the Blessed Ones to explain to Dante if the dazzling light that surrounds them will be tolerable to look upon when they are once again made visible, implying the end of times when they will get back their bodies. As to how the literal sense unequivocally alludes to resurrection of the flesh, the discourse is ambiguous and contains some oddities that have always given rise to perplexity in the commentators, and that we will see. But the most significant thing is that Dante returns here to a terminology that was typical of the Cathars. It is true that he speaks of flesh, but he calls it glorious and holy, and is above all what he calls robe. Robes is the expression that the Cathars used to indicate the body, both the glorious one that will be had in the day of resurrection, white robes, and the one of the flesh, the robe of skin, as it was called. Robe is a word that Dante repeatedly uses, in particular of the blessed, specifying more times that it will be white, but also to designate the body. Virgil, for example, addressing Cato, will refer to Utica, where you left the robe that will be bright on the great day. And I could give many more examples. Within this expression, there is an idea present in all Gnostic systems that the true essence of man is the spirit, while the body is a simple covering. The whole discourse about these souls is so ambiguous that without doubt it could be interpreted as inherent in the resurrection of the flesh, but it could also adapt itself well to the idea of the resurrection that the Cathars held. It could even be interpreted as an allusion to the reincarnation. In all these cases, there are expressions that fit to perfection and others less or not at all. If we want to hold on to the traditional reading, we would not have any of the sense of Dante's words, who, to see them so eager for dead bodies, comments, page 116, not only for themselves perhaps, but for their mothers, fathers, and for others dear to them. Paradise 14, 64 to 65. This ever so human observation is so full of delicate poetry, the Bosco Reggio edition notes, it shouldn't be analysed with excessive rationality, because if it was, a true and real contradiction would be detected. Also, the desire alone for a greater perfection would seem inadequate to the condition of blessedness. A greater reason, therefore, would be the implication of earthly affections. Now, no religion has ever condemned earthly affections, and more so those for parents who, on the contrary, are always and everywhere honoured. But this is not the point. The phrase more than a contradiction would contain a true and real absurdity if it referred to the Catholic faith, and if their mothers, fathers, and for others dear to them were in hell. It seems a joke, but it isn't. Doesn't Dante himself meet the beloved and honoured master Bruno Latini in hell? Whether it be a matter of greater splendour, or of seeing loved ones again with bodily eyes, although of a seeing again, and moreover with bodily eyes, there is no trace in Dante, only the Cathar doctrine can satisfy the certainty expressed here by the souls. In the first case, because at the end of times their splendour will be doubled. In the second, because through the cycles of reincarnations, at the end of times the souls will be saved, including those of theirs who were beloved.